And then I came to you with just a DVD without the box.
Yes.
And handed to you.
Yes.
And you sort of went, what? And
I was like, whatever.
And I said, just watch it.
Yes.
And it was Portrait of Jennie.
Yeah.
I've watched that one a long time ago on BBC. It was on BBC. And I remember it from back then. And I knew this is the kind of movie you should just watch without knowing anything. Basically, yeah. I think the genre, there is that's sort of outside of a genre it's very difficult to place. But maybe like fantasy film noir?
Gothic?
Maybe gothic, yeah.
Fantasy, yes. Dark fantasy?
It's too light for dark fantasy.
Yes.
So
yes.
It's a one-of-a-kind thing. It is, by the way, produced by Selznick, who also did Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind and Rebecca. So, yeah. And he was always a hands-on producer. He was all over these things. So, and it looks... You can see that in the production, that it's absolutely a Selznick production.
Yeah, and they thought about it as well. The dress people are wearing, the circumstances people are living in, and the type of film they used.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my personal opinion about it, this is an amazingly wonderful movie. And your opinion is?
Oh, it's really sweet. It's really wonderful. It's also it's a bit of an emotional just journey.
Yes.
And I think it is more unpredictable than it looks.
Yes.
At the beginning, I was like, "Oh, we're doing this."
No, we're not. But we're not. Well, we're so not.
So, and that's even when I was thinking, well, okay, if that's all they're doing, then, but don't worry, that's not all they're doing.
Just stick with it, even if it looks like it's slow. It is slow at the beginning, but it's from 1948. It's gonna be slow of the time. It was normal for the time to go that slow at the start.
Well, there's enough to discover, even though it's all very simple.
Yes.
So the life is simple, the circumstances are simple. And at the same time.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Well, I liked it. You liked it.
Yes. I would recommend it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Highly recommend it.
I would say you can watch this like for Christmas. You can watch this for spring, summer. There is winter in it.
Yeah. And skating.
And the whole year is actually
the whole year is in it, yes.
And I think what's not too much of a spoiler is the location. These must have been location shoots because it's absolutely in Central Park in New York City.
Yes.
And you can see the buildings in the background, especially there's a skating scene because winter. And you can see so they show everything that you can possibly show from that location, and they're showing all the buildings going up. There's already actually in 1948 there's already a lot up.
Yes.
Lots of landmark buildings. I wouldn't be able to name them, but
and it is the story itself is set in 1934. So it's gonna they did. I think they probably picked the buildings that would have been up in 34.
Yes, there are several shots where they're going straight up, and they want you to see that building, and then they're not, and then they're going like straight up to the sky. They don't want you to see something else.
Yeah.
So they were very specific about it, and the ice is real. The skating is real, as far as I can tell.
And the acting is wonderful.
So for Hollywood to be actually in New York to film on location is quite something. I doubt that the rest was in New York.
The secondary,
because it can be anywhere.
The secondary location with the
there's a secondary location that can be, of course, somewhere else.
And that was a real location.
Yeah, that wasn't Hollywood, but any of the interiors and even the small streets could have been. Of course, we know that Hollywood had all the backlots with New York Street and things like that. So, and it's not that New Yorkish that you feel like every single shot is like some of the Gene Kelly films where they go, now we're showing New York to you.
Yeah.
That's
But
fine. That's not this.
That Gene Kelly film was doing contemporary New York, so you can have at it. And this one is the film is from 48, but it is set in 34. So they have to pick and choose what they can show. They can't show everything, and they're very well aware of it.
I would also recommend watching it for the at least 3 elderly ladies that are in here.
Yes.
2 of which are important. One is Lillian Gish, and you'll find out who she plays. And then
there's a black lady, an older black lady in it.
Yes, as well. And we also have Ethel Barrymore as Miss Spinney, who is the very, very large role.
Yes.
Lillian Gish, not such a large role, but
very important role. Yeah.
And then we will have to write here who was the black lady who actually had a good role in it.
But only one scene.
In one scene, but for
pivotal,
that time,
yes,
I would say that it's a kick-ass role.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't a servant.
The main cast is wonderful. Him and her, they are both so good. I think she's pretty young at this point, Jennifer Jones. She's really young.
What else do we know her from?
She did do some other things, but we may not have seen it. She's very young here, and he's a little older, but he's also, I don't think I've ever seen him in anything else. He's also wonderful.
No. Yeah, he's very good and has that very natural way of playing. She has to light up, she has to shine, and he lets her do that, and he is he's a very natural, gentle presence on screen. Yeah, which is very comfortable because he's taking you through the story. Yeah.
So this is a good film. Go and watch it.
Go watch it.
And that's my opinion.
In my opinion.
And we're sticking to
it. However, no jingle.
No jingle.
Why is there no jingle?
This section is for the people who actually seen the movie already. If you have not seen the movie, we're going to go straight to the spoilers. This movie is from start to finish completely spoiled the moment you talk about it, which why we did the little thing at the beginning. I love it.
Yeah,
the premise.
Very reminiscent of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, but it's before the Twilight Zone. It's
yeah.
before the Twilight Zone, and you know the build-up, because you start with just a painter who is in New York, and at first I was thinking about this painter. So he's in 1934, and he looks like he's about 34 years old, so maybe born in 1900. He would have been maybe even just old enough to be in World War One. So I was thinking a lot of people who were in World War One became like artists or whatever afterwards because they couldn't function. And I was sort of thinking,
I think he's a little too young for that. Yeah.
He may have been, and he does talk to Miss Spinney about his past, and he says basically everything was fine when he was young. So no, he wasn't. Yeah. So that was just a thought that came up. Yeah. He is a starving sort of artist in New York.
The interesting thing about that is that he accepts that. He knows what the life is like. He has chosen, I'm going to do it anyway, because he has no reason not to. So that means he's actually a person who is free to make his own decisions. And he's willing to starve a bit.
Yes.
Because it starts somewhere with like, oh, and I hadn't eaten all day. Well, yes, but it's still not his major concern to find himself some food. Yeah. That is, even though he's starting to feel a little dizzy. And that's interesting because that means that he's either so flaky that that's all, he doesn't care. Or it's just that starving, I starve a day. That's fine, as long as I get to do my...
Yeah,
so it's not all days.
I think it's very likely that there was a little bit of family money and it was spent on buying that loft that he lives in. So he only has to worry about his day-to-day food bill.
Yeah,
and maybe his shoes and the paints, because paints do cost money. Yeah. But like the second or third scene, he walks into a art gallery. Yeah. It's an art gallery, and there's a gentleman there, and Miss Spinney is there, and this gentleman says, I would like to take a look, but your art is no good, basically. He says it very, very, very nicely.
Yes, everybody's super nice in this film.
But Miss Spinney also looks at it and she says it a little bit. She also says the same thing, but slightly a bit less nicely, but she's still nice enough. And she buys something off him because she does see something in him. But he's like going around aimlessly looking for not quite sure what. He's not quite sure what. And then one day in the park he meets her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the build-up of this movie, because you have seen this movie, otherwise you shouldn't be here. If you haven't seen it, go away. The build-up of this movie of just a normal, ordinary situation, which is not ordinary, but it is normal. And then meeting this girl, and then his realization of what this girl actually is. Up to the
It certainly doesn't happen in that first scene.
No, it takes a long while, and this is why this film should not be spoilered, because if you know at the beginning what you know at the end, the thing doesn't work as well. You have to have the build up to the point where he comes to the Sister Mary of Mercy and hears the final thing, the realization point for him, that
because why she was so scared of those those pictures he painted.
And also that he was envisioning meeting her for reals and like marrying her and having kids.
Yes, he was serious.
And once he realizes that she dead,
it's just not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
No.
And it's like the saddest thing ever. But it's not. Because it gave him so much.
Yeah, well, she says it at the end. She says 2 people who were so lonely. And time was the factor, is that they just happened to not be in the same time. So she somehow, after she passed possibly, made it possible to meet him. Because she realized that her person was later in time, and she'd already passed away.
Yeah.
So I think she made a deal. She somehow got the chance to meet him. Why she needs to show up as so young. The first 3 times she meets with him, she's too young to marry him. It's like, that's a little on the young side.
The thing is that she's trying to fast stream a complete meeting and getting to know each other. And they have like 4 or 5 meetings. Mm-hmm. And so she wants to give him, because she can only give him that much, to at least give him as much of her life as she can. And that's why we get these... first to her as a little girl, and I think she's about 12, and then the second time she's just starting college, so I think she's about 16, and then she ends college, and I think she's probably 20, so 4 years later. Now she's a woman, and then when she passed, we're not quite sure. We don't get any dates. The only date we get
it's in the letters.
But she doesn't say.
They know exactly when that storm happened.
Yeah, but we get a date, but not a year. I did notice. The only date we get is for the little girl. She left behind a shawl wrapped up in a newspaper, and the newspaper's from 1910. Yeah. So I think the little girl, if we call her as 10 years old, the upsetting thing is that if you calculate these ages, so if she's 10 years old in 1910, she was born in 1900. If he's in 1934 and he's about 34 or maybe a little older, he's born in 1900. Yeah. They are the same age.
Why is it 1934? Because that's nowhere in the film.
That is exactly at the start of the film. That year that starts with winter, and then goes to spring and summer, and then in the autumn when the thing ends is all 34. And then the Portrait of Jennie that he paints in that year goes to that gallery, to the museum, and is listed as Portrait of Jennie 1934.
Okay. And because about the storm they're talking about, it's 20 years ago. They say that very specifically up on with the guys at that lighthouse. So if it's 34, and then the big storm was in 1914.
Yeah, and that can't be right because she's a little older than that. But it could be a metaphorical 20 years ago. So anywhere from 22 to 18
See,
to
that's
20.
the problem if you're starting to write fantasy. You do have to get your details right.
Yeah,
so
and Hollywood
don't
has
mess it up too much.
Hollywood has notoriously been bad at calculations.
Yes.
But I don't mind that so much. I mind more that if you calculate it, then basically they are of a same generation, and they should have met. And she was also left over. She was left over after her parents died. She could have gone anywhere, done anything.
Maybe he's only 28.
Yeah, but still.
So then he's like 10 years younger than she is.
No, because she would have been 34 and 34. This is only this is 4
but she's already
6
dead.
years. Yeah, she's already dead. Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, I mean the dead part is.
They are not completely star-crossed, as in completely different generations. Like she was born in 1870s, in 1870 or something like that, and. This is from a book. We have not read the book, so there may be more informations in the book. I don't know. I will look it up and put some information here about the book. I do know that Selznick always completely fluffed and folded it, whatever he picked up to make a film out of. So there might have been many changes. But this film as such is pretty much perfect. So this film, the copy of the film that we had, when you start it, you get the MGM logo in color, and then it goes to a black and white movie, which is sort of going. But when you get to like the last reel, and I have to explain that for people who don't know about that, but films in olden days were on reels, and like a film was like an hour and a half would have been like 5 reels or something like that.
10 minutes per reel, at least in those days.
Yeah, no, that's earlier. This is a little later, so a little bit more per reel. But like 5 reels in a film, so a good chunk of the film would be one kind of reel. And right at the end, and I think it's beautiful of Selznick to do that, because this is a black and white movie, but he wanted in 48 the thing would have been better in color, but it's in black and white. He wanted to show the Portrait of Jennie in full color, and so I do remember that from when I saw it on BBC, that black and white movie, and then the shot of her in color. But the print that we've watched, the entire last reel is apparently a color print, so it starts off greenish. And then sepia.
No. It's so what they used to do with the very old silent movies.
Yeah, but it's
they had for like daytime you put a different light behind it, a different color light, and for nighttime a different color light.
But it's not
so
like
you
subtle.
Would get it on. No, it's not subtle at all.
It's like completely in your face.
Boom. And so when it starts with the lightning.
The thunderstorm, yeah.
The thunderstorm, and everything that's there has sort of like a blue-green light behind it, like sea color light.
Yeah.
And so everything is lit up in that color.
But it's weird because none of the rest of the film is not. And I think they should just take this thing out of the DVD and just recolor that green bit, and then there's a little bit of sepia bit for the indoor scene, back to the same black and white as the rest of the movie, because it's weird.
Yeah, but that's probably how Selznick intended it.
No, I know it's not, because I've seen it.
Oh, you saw a different copy of it.
Yeah, but that's like 30 years ago. It's much more Selznick copy than this one.
No.
This is weird, and it looks weird.
I was watching the silent movies, and they had like
I hate it.
And they have for daytime it's like green, and for nighttime there's like different colors for different, and they would do the whole reel. So
yeah, but it's not. They didn't do it.
This was the same.
They didn't do it in the silent era. They did it later.
Yes. No, they did it in the silent era. Yeah.
Anyway, it's weird, and I would like to see it colored back to the. I love the color shot of the Portrait of Jennie.
Yeah.
Keep that.
Yeah.
And I think the one I saw on BBC, because this one is when you get the color shot of the painting, it sits and then it zooms in. And I don't remember that. I remember that they were talking about the painting, and then we just got a static image of the painting. So I think this is a completely different print that I saw, with a completely different way of doing the last bits. I like the other one better, but it's a personal opinion. Yes. But this is a channel about personal opinions.
It's our opinion. I liked it. It was interesting, especially because the color starts with the lightning rod. I'm going, oh, they're going there. Yes, they are.
It would have been maybe better just to not do it quite as poison green. I will show you here how green it was. It didn't need to be that green. The sepia afterwards in the other scene was actually better. The brown tones was way less in your face. Yeah. The green was
like I said, they use different colors for different types of settings to give you a little bit.
But in 1948,
people would have remembered it. People would go, oh yeah, that's, and maybe it was like harkening back to 1910, which is where she's from.
I'll see if I can find if Selznick actually intended it this way, because I don't think so. Anyway, I would love to see Jennifer Jones in something else. Oh, she's so beautiful and so sweet.
She reminded me a lot of Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah, it's the same era, because she was also pretty young at that time still as well.
A similar face, but also the similar disposition. She has a very, And I think she did a really good job at acting this, because you have to be ethereal but also present for him.
And I think she's actually pretty young. The actress herself.
Could be, yeah.
I loved it.
That was interesting being given the movie and just like, watch it, see what happens. Because I was immediately like, oh well, it's the girl in the fireplace. It's we've seen this 100 times over, and of course at the top of my head I can't remember examples, but the girl, the girl in the fireplace. That was the Madame Pompadour episode with Doctor Who, the 10th Doctor, and then later you have the Amy Pond. Similar setup, and it's like, okay, so this is a fantasy by guys, if I'm just can be as crude as that, is this young woman, all she thinks about is you, the guy, and he's the only guy in her life, and she will forever be waiting for him. That's basically the fantasy.
Yeah. But I don't think that was, in the end, that was it. There was a lot about her life in this.
Yeah, so when it started like that, I was like, okay, well, if that's where they're going, then I'm kind of bored. I mean, I understand that it's new for that, for the times.
I wouldn't have given you a boring movie.
And then it goes into there's also the struggling artist thing, which could be quite boring, because that's sort of like white man angst. Is like
but then he talks to Miss Spinney, and it becomes interesting again.
Yes, and Miss Spinney is interesting. I got the feeling that Miss Spinney is sort of like having a second youth with him, because she said she's a spinster. Nobody really would give her a second look, but at the same time, he's very grateful for anything that she can do for him, and she's able to do it. So she becomes his patron in a way, and so is his friend his Irish friend. He also helps him. And effectively, between all of them, he keeps being employed.
Yeah.
And she went out to the theater with him. So she socializes with him. She asks him to come visit her home. She doesn't want anything more from him. Because he is too young.
There was a storyline that could have happened but didn't, because we know what happened. Is that if Miss Spinney was, if they had moved the timeline a little bit, then Miss Spinney is.
I was wondering that for a little bit. Yeah. Is this her? Is she just waiting for him to realize that this was me, and I'm here now? I'm a little older, but hey.
Kind of overshot the target.
I think that would have been cool, but that whole thing, and I was keeping that in my mind as possibility until that last scene when she talks to him and he's lying in the bed after the the big action stuff, is that okay? No, to her it's still like, well, it's his artistic fantasy, and she's not gonna tell him it doesn't exist, but she doesn't think it exists. So I thought that was everybody is very respectful in this film. And his friend as well, I was getting a little bit of a vibe of this friend would have loved to have had a relationship with him. Forgot his name, but
the Irish
guy.
He's a chauffeur, cab driver. I think he has his own car.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And,
but he's a really good friend who gets him extra job, and everybody's a really good friend to him, and that's really nice.
Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah. So he lives effectively, even though he's a starving artist to begin with, he lives in a very protecting world.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to worry. Okay, I starve a couple of nights a week. That's all he has to worry about.
And like I said, I don't think he has to worry about his home because I think the family money bought his home, so there's no rent to pay. He only has to worry about his paints and his food.
Yeah. And he purposefully does not have a girlfriend, children, and anything.
Yeah.
So I think he probably won't now.
I think he was looking. He didn't realize he was looking for emotion, inspiration, but the world did and gave him some. But he didn't realize he was looking for that, and he needed it. He needed it to become a good artist. You need emotion. You need involvement, emotion, all those things.
And you need to experience stuff.
Yeah.
You need to do more than just be
and it doesn't have
painting.
Doesn't have to be huge experiences like war or anything like that. It can be just emotional connection to somebody who is effectively a ghost.
Yeah. Because even when she was a child, in the first 2-3 times that he meets her, he doesn't. I think in the back of his mind he's like, that would be great if she grew up and I could be. But he is talking to her like she is a child. So
there is no flirting or anything like that. Not at all.
And only when she is an adult, she says, "I'm now ready." That he invites her to his home and he wants her to stay overnight, and she kind of does, but nothing happens because it's...
And they actually walk the entire night in the city, and then by the time they get to his place, she sort of nods off, and then they talk, and then she disappears again, because that's what she does.
I was surprised that she was taking him to that convent area. That was surprising, but it was actually necessary, because otherwise he wouldn't have known to go there by himself and talk to
Mary of Mercy, Mother Mary of Sister Mary of Mercy. Yeah.
And even the sister the mother was not surprised about anything when she gives him the letters, and then he says, "Hey, but this is you cannot tell me this is not real, so I'm gonna go pursue this." And she just goes ahead and starts praying, like, she has now been
she knows there's more in heaven, between heaven and earth than you do, right?
She is good with it.
She is a very true believer. Not everybody in convents are, but this one is definitely. And I think that's maybe what this makes this movie so wonderful, is that everybody's pretty true and loyal. And they don't lie, and even the publican, the Irish pub owner, who has to be conned into taking Eben on as a painter for the mural. Even he turns out to be true, because the deal was he would paint and obviously in exchange, they don't say it quite clearly enough in the movie, but it's in exchange for every lunch from then on.
Yes.
Anytime he comes, he's going to get food, warm food. So I don't know who actually ends up paying for the paints, but I think it's probably Eben. But it doesn't matter, because you don't paint very fast and you eat a lot faster. And I don't know about drinking. I don't think he's much of a drinking man. Yeah, the usual pint of something, but he's not a big drinker, I think. So would have been cheap affordable for the Irish pub keeper. But still, he didn't this was not free as such, but there was no money exchanged. This is a good deal for everyone. And he was very patient when Eben sort of slouched on the whole thing. He waited patiently.
Yeah.
I don't know. People, it's like a feel-good, a goth feel-good movie.
Yes, that's what it is. It's a goth romance.
Feel good.
Feel good.
Gothic romance, feel good.
Not comedy.
Not comedy.
Yeah.
I think that we're probably finished for this. So again, this was my opinion.
And my opinion.
And we're sticking to it.